Welcome to the Footy Museum and the Footy Museum podcast. I am a tired Justin Whitty, joined by co-director of the Footy Museum, Maria Van Dyke and Lee. Maria, are you also tired?
I'm not, no.
Okay, that's good for you. How's
it's
that
great
feel?
for me. I feel great. I feel like I'm suppressing some feelings about soccer today, but other than that, I'm great.
Did anyone play soccer this weekend? I have no recollection of any football being played anywhere in the world. I think it was a universal blackout. Yep, nothing happened.
To report. Podcast over.
Yeah, I know. In fact, I know they did it because I read a news story about the most recent Fire game, and it was how they blew a lead at the last minute of the game.
That's what happened.
And that's what happened, 2 weeks ago. So, and then a few weeks before that. So that's old news. So they must not have played.
It was about the same for the Leeds headline I saw, losing by over 3 points, four or five.
And they couldn't have played because they're still in 16th place.
Yeah, they haven't moved for several games now. So
I don't think they played for a month at least. Oh, but good old Bammy is warming up for the Champo.
He's going to be so happy to go back to the championship.
It's like the guy who was really good at high school coming back. Oh, yeah.
Woohoo.
It's going to be blow drying that hair on the field. Oh, no, it's tough. I think, I don't know why Leeds is still above the line.
It's just a matter of everyone below them having done slightly worse, and it is becoming so even. And losing today to Bournemouth and tying with Leicester, those are the two last shots that they had, and today is that's a sealed deal, because teams at the bottom are going to be playing other teams at the bottom, and it's so close between them and Leeds that somebody will gain points.
Someone will win.
Someone will leapfrog them.
And Leeds is playing teams from the top.
Yeah, it's all over. So it's not the final nail in the coffin if we tie every other game, which we won't. Yeah.
So where do you even watch the championship? Is it on, it's on ESPN, right?
I'm sure there are ways.
I think they have it on ESPN.
I've seen some before.
Or the Golazo network.
Or illegal YouTube streams.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They're not dead yet.
They're not dead yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be a terrible final month, but they're not dead yet.
I feel like the Fire are dead, and the season's just starting. They have dropped so many points from winning positions. I think if you take out the final 5 minutes of all their games this year, so if say the game ended at the 85th minute, they would be in fourth place. And they're all on set pieces. It's just mark your man. It's just
that
so
seems
painful.
like a problem that's easy to fix.
I think it's such a mental game. You watch them towards the end of this game, they completely abandoned anything that was putting them in the lead. They went fully drop back. They had 11 men back on defense, and they were just terrified. And I don't know. And that stadium gets more and more empty, and I understand because it's painful. You don't want to go watch something that hurts.
You know what? We did almost go. And then we looked at the weather report and we were like, meow.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. The weather, again, was horrible. And it looked even worse on the lake, the wind. And they did, interesting though, Shaqiri, who was not injured, did not start the game. I think they've given up on the...
on the cube.
Given up on the cube.
The cube of power.
That's what playing bad and having a very talented teenager behind you in the roster does. So,
are you talking about Gutierrez?
Yeah, he's really a shining light. I think this season I'm just going to focus on Gutierrez because he's actually very good.
He's good.
And I think next year we'll see him somewhere in Europe.
But maybe he just wants to stay close to home.
No, the whole plan with
maybe he loves Chicago.
He does. He's from Chicago.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
He'll be back. I just hope that he doesn't go right away to the Premier League and just get loaned out forever and fade into
obscurity.
I think Holland would be good. A lot of U.S. players do really well in Holland. It's still high level.
Holland, not Haaland.
Yeah, no.
So I thought you were
sorry.
talking about the man.
Yeah, don't play for Holland, Haaland, but the Netherlands. Play in the Netherlands. Anyway. And anything else besides the fact that there was no soccer? Our Red Stars did tie.
If it wasn't for Leeds and Bournemouth today, our three collective teams still would have gotten 3 points collectively.
Here's the thing: the Fire didn't even lose, and I'm this depressed because they give up. All these ties.
It keeps happening.
Which, if Leeds did that, it would be like a celebration. There'd be like a statue put up.
But okay, that's how it used to be with Leeds. Leeds used to score a lot and concede a lot, and if it ended in a tie, that was great. Now they just maybe score and concede like 5 points.
Yeah, and then just brush up their resumes. Is
Yeah,
the vibe I'm getting.
And they just get their agents out. But you know how the Footy Museum has a curse.
Well, not huge. St. Louis recovered.
Yeah, they recovered. Well, you know how last week we were talking about Tim Ream?
Oh no!
Today he fractured his arm.
I didn't watch that.
Or was it today or was it yesterday? This weekend?
No, it was today. They were playing Man City.
He fractured
his arm. They lost 2-1. And he hasn't missed a game in forever.
Mm-mm.
I wonder if he'll miss, though. It's just an arm cast. I could totally see
No,
Ream
he's going to
coming.
be out. They pulled him out, and he's going to be out.
Well, he's got to get the cast. I think he'll be back. He'll be like, he'll have the full... What happened? I didn't see it.
It just looked like a really bad tumble mixed with a really unfortunately placed boot.
Well, Maria, I think we should use our powers for good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Who do you want to curse?
Well, let's just talk about how exciting it is to watch Pep's Man City really roll through the Premier League and seeing Holland just cruised. I think that seeing them grab the inevitable championship and probably do really well in Europe as well. I think this is the year.
This is the year.
I think that they're going to get the double.
Get on the Man City train. This is the year.
It's all Man City. Totally.
I'm on my phone. I'm buying a kit right now.
The teams in the bottom 3 spots of the Premier League are really fantastic clubs. If you really watch them, they're a great watch, and I have good feelings about them going forward.
Yeah, I think they're all winners.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And I just really enjoy how the Fire have been tying so much. I just hope that we can have the MLS record for most ties. And late goals, it keeps it exciting. It's so fun.
Yeah, it does. Go all the other teams who
Yes,
score those late goals.
Let's do all this. And you know what else? I like not being super wealthy. How about you? Might as well just go all the way in on the Footy Museum card. But we may be feeling down, and misery loves company. We're still working on a guest, we promise. I did look. He did email me back. I've just been so... listeners, I'm very busy right now and very tired, but it'll get better. Don't worry.
You look like...
Great. Fantastic.
Like shit.
Really?
Sorry, no, you look,
Is that
fine.
Reverse curse?
Yeah, I'm just trying to... Still doing the curse.
Oh, but we did, like I said, misery loves company. And I think if there is any fan in the Premier League who is maybe as miserable as a Leeds fan this year, that would be a Chelsea fan. Because imagine being a Leeds fan, but in your very recent memory, even a few months ago, you were one of the top teams in the world. And you even won a Champions League.
It's a bigger fall than Leeds' fall to the championship.
It is an astronomical fall. And it is, and it's not without spending. They are the top spending club probably in the universe. And they're not doing well. So we talked to a lifelong Chelsea fan, Jim Gosling, who we both work with. He is kind of the British Thor. That's how I would describe him. Would you say?
I describe him as British Jim from The Office.
He's not at all like Jim.
No, because he's British. His name's Jim, and he works
In The Office.
at The Office.
That's just, you're not comparing. You're just doing a straight
Yeah.
You're just doing a straight.
He's not Jim from the British Office.
No, you're not. It's not
He's
about the show.
British
It's
Jim
just British
from The
Jim
Office.
from The Office.
I told that to Jeremy, and he's like, "You're talking to Martin Freeman?"
That is so good. Well, let's hear from British Jim from The Office. Not what you think. Okay, here we go. All right, we are with our special guest. Our special academy athlete will actually be pushed back another league, but we found another wonderful guest. And Maria, as speaking as a Fire fan and you as a Leeds fan, we thought it might be interesting to bring in someone having an equally
dismal season.
So we are with our good friend Jim Gosling. And Jim is a lifelong family Chelsea fan.
Mm-hmm,
is that right?
From birth, I had no other choice.
No other choice.
No. When I could walk, I was given a football, but as soon as I could understand, my dad, he told me, like, there's no other club. If you don't support Chelsea, you're going to live out in the shed. So I believed him. Being a naive kid, I used to believe him. So I used to be terrified of being like left out in the shed all night. So I became a Chelsea fan, even though there was times when I was kind of thinking about Man United a little bit.
Man United, curious.
Yeah. Like all of my friends, even though I lived in London, I grew up in London as a kid, and most of my friends were still Man United fans. Just because they were the
How
best.
does that happen? Oh,
well, that was peak United, though,
right.
I'm imagining.
It was during the 90s, like middle 90s. They were just winning everything, and all my mates were just on the bandwagon. And even though they were from London, they were still supporting them. So, like, I kind of had peer pressure to support them, but there was no way my dad was letting that happen.
So, when you started? What was the team? Which team are we talking about here?
So, yeah, I'm a Chelsea fan.
No, I mean in terms of which Chelsea team. Like, who were the key players when you started being a fan?
Okay, so, yeah, when I started, it was like Dennis Wise, Gianfranco Zola, Vialli. So we were like starting to attract, European players. We were like attracting the older kind, they were at the end of their careers maybe, and we were trying to get what little they had left out of them. But it was totally a different Chelsea to nowadays. We were mid-table, pushing like the kind of 9th, 8th, 7th place, but it was completely different. You could afford to go to games. Tickets were like 10, 20 pounds, and which compared to now is a lot cheaper. And I used to go with my dad. My dad used to take me with his mates. I used to sit on his shoulder. And in those days, you could stand up in the stands, and nowadays you can't. There's like safety precautions and all that. But back then, you could all stand up, and it would just be such a fun time. All the kids would be on the dad's shoulders, and it was more of like a family club. Mm-hmm. My granddad, he supported them. We were born and bred in London, and it was very much like a cheap place to go and take your kids to go and watch a game of football. Totally different to now.
And what was the environment like for your view as a kid? I mean, what was your sense of it?
There was a ton of passion. There was a ton of passion in the club. It was, I don't know. It's just being in that in the stadium, like with the fans. It just kind of the atmosphere. When your team scores, and in those days when Chelsea like won a game, it was like such a big deal. Even more so
Maria
now.
knows about that.
Yeah, the feeling of it
actually,
being
you know about that now too.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know what a win feels like nowadays. But exactly, being a Leeds fan, you'd understand that. You take like any win,
I was thinking about this, about how our podcast supports teams that don't do great, and how it makes us less intimidating to our guests.
That's true.
And more relatable. Nobody would be too intimidated to join our podcast.
Yeah, we're not like the Man City. Yeah, for sure. And I'm just curious also, being like intergenerational, would you all watch together? And do you still, when you watch games now, are you like texting with your family? Is it back and forth? Is it a constant thing?
Yeah. So me and my dad, my brother, we're all in like a chat group. So like when we now it's harder to watch the games together, but we're in a chat, we're talking every game. It's like the last few games, it's been silent.
Oh no.
We've barely been speaking a word because we know exactly, like, if we're going through a bad time, it's better not to speak at all. Because what can you say?
Well, it's crazy how deeply you feel that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like it affects you day to day. Like if you have a bad game or a period of bad games, it brings you down.
Well, it seems like a million years ago when Roman Abramovich was forced out of the club, and then it was the kind of, at that point it was like Thomas Tuchel's really steadying the ship. Like they may not be allowed to like fly to games, but he'll drive the van.
He'll drive
and he
the
was
bus,
kind of this steady presence, and there was a sense, okay, maybe this will be okay. And in almost a counterswing to a Russian oligarch, they bring in what I think was almost like a computer-generated stereotype of an American businessman.
Mr. Monopoly.
Right, exactly. And he's been I think he's been very successful with baseball, obviously, with the Dodgers. I don't know a lot about baseball, but I've seen they've been quite successful.
Yeah, the Dodgers, I mean, they won the World Series. They're successful, but it's a
different game.
Different thing, and he has shown a complete lack of understanding of that. I mean, he spent the money.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's all he's done.
You guys have about 3,000 top-end players.
Yeah.
Our squad is, 35, 40 players now. And I've heard they've actually had to knock down a wall in the dressing room to fit all of them in.
No.
I was going to say that.
Which is insane.
So where do they go from here? This
the
is
end of the season, that is it.
But they're not going to be in European football next year.
No.
I mean,
there's no
do you
way.
see them? When do you see them making it back?
Maybe next year. Maybe. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. We just need to get to the end of the season now. That's all we need to do. I don't even think we'll win another point, but I think we'll still be safe just because our games left are really, really difficult. We've got Arsenal on Tuesday. We've got Newcastle. We've got Man City.
Arsenal's dead. Don't worry about
it.
They got murdered last week.
I know, but they're still going to be trying, bless them. You got to give it to them. They've had a really good season. They've been down in the dumps for a while, so we'll give them second place. They'll be happy about that. I'm sure.
No, they're not going to be happy.
No. I'm just joking.
I mean, what is the manager situation going to look like? You had Tuchel, and then you bring in. Because an American owner's like, what's the perfect British owner? Go with a Potter.
Go with Potter.
That's what I know about England is through J.K. Rowling. So I'm gonna go.
Yeah, you couldn't be more right, sadly. The first mistake was sacking Tuchel. That was such a massive mistake because there was issues in the squad. We knew we needed a striker. We knew we needed like a certain type of midfielder. Like Kante was injured. We had a lot of injuries in the squad at the start of the season, and Tuchel was still grinding out results. Like we weren't playing well, but we were grinding. And then apparently Tuchel didn't text Bowley back, or he didn't answer a call, or something about that. And he sacked him. He didn't like the way Tuchel worked. He didn't like.
I think Burley posted a photo of his new back tat that was like the Chelsea 3, and Tuchel didn't like it on Instagram, so he was like,
that sounds about right. The first mistake was sacking Tuchel, and bringing in Potter. Potter seemed like a kind of decent, at the time I was kind of like, he's an up and coming manager, he's a British manager, which we hadn't had in a while. Like we had Lampard, but it's good to see like an up and coming British manager in your club, so I was optimistic about that and on board with him. And I honestly think if we had stuck with Potter, we might have been all right. Going to Lampard was another huge mistake because his record is appalling, and he's a Chelsea legend. Yeah, he is, but his record as a manager is appalling.
He's not a good manager.
No. And he did all right with Derby, but that's like a championship team. You just can't judge a manager the same. It's not the same level, so.
He also has aged 3,000 years
because of the job. Yeah.
He just looks like
all Chelsea fans. Have you
who
seen
is that
me?
bald? Oh my gosh!
In this last season, I think I've aged about 10 years. It's horrible.
Yeah, every day we walk past you, and you're just like Another year has gone from your faith.
Exactly. I know. It's terrible.
Speaking of walking past, you're a big guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm burly.
Like a
I'm burly.
guy. You got a beard, long hair, and it reminds me of like we were looking at old Premier League crests and badges. What's the deal with the old Chelsea one with the guy with the beard and the? Do you know the really old one?
I
you
have
ever
it
seen
right
that?
here.
Let's have a look.
One moment. They've had so many. This fellow.
Oh, so he's a Chelsea pensioner. So I don't know.
Okay.
Like Chelsea fans would be very familiar with them. They go to games. They're pensioners. I think they've like fought in the war. They've had some kind of record in the military, and when they retire, they become part of the Chelsea pensioners, and they go to the games every week.
Okay.
So that's who that guy
fellow.
is. Yeah.
And was that actually their badge at some point?
I mean, long before I was born, but
1905.
yeah, long before I was born. Maybe around your time, but
I hate aging. That's really interesting. I often wonder about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the deal with the 3?
You mean the free on the chest?
Yeah.
It's just they pay us money, don't they, to have it on there?
That's the logo.
Just the logo.
That's the logo. I am a little bit embarrassed about this, but my American brain for a long time just was like, why is Chelsea's kit different from all the other teams? And why is every player number 3?
No, I think when you come into, like, as an American fan, that's the first thing you like.
Well, and if you, I don't know, like the numbering is a little invisible at some point, and so in your head you don't really think about it. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Well, that's why I made
Number
a fortune
3.
selling those Pulisic number 3 jerseys online. So what is your view on Pulisic? Because I know in American circles, they are hyper focused on what arguably is like an average backup player, I would say. Do you know what I mean? But there is this intense
There are heroes.
There's this tense American pressure of every game he's not playing. There's pressure. And do you even hear any of that chat, or is it just kind of a joke to most fans?
Being over the States now, I do hear about that chat, but I just don't think he's consistent enough at the top level. I think he's got determination, he's got spirit, he's got work rate. He works very, very hard for the team, but his level of play is just not. He doesn't hit the heights all the time. You know, he'll have like a good game every now and again, but just not consistent enough.
But doesn't that come from playing time, though?
Yeah. But
he's not going to get with
Chelsea,
35 people.
I mean, he might next season because we're not going to be favourites for top 4 next season. Mm-hmm. Even though we spent a lot of money, we're just not going to be favourites.
I don't think he'll be on the squad, though.
But I don't know. He might do. Poch might like him. You just never know what Poch might like if we get him.
I was going to say, do you know something we don't know?
From what I'm hearing, he's imminent.
Okay.
He's imminent.
Okay.
In the next few days, apparently. We're trying to like...
Oh, we came out too early with our podcast.
Really? Yeah.
Well, we could just do a new record.
We can do a new one. We can do
in
whatever
honor of the signing of Pochettino. We ever had to run on a Chelsea fan.
Breaking news.
Sorry to break it to you.
You don't think Lamps is going to pull through and like... and he'll be back?
I honestly think if we lose to Arsenal on Tuesday, which I highly suspect we will, and then we lose again, he might just go. And if we've got Poch signed up, he might just throw him in there.
Has there ever been a manager fired from the same club within such a short period? Twice within such a short period of time? Like,
yeah, I'm not sure. Probably. I don't know.
I mean, that's something.
It's something
to hang your head on. That's
put it
a
on
good,
his CV for sure. Yeah,
that's a good record.
He's gonna get a job very quickly, isn't he?
MLS, baby.
MLS soccer.
He's going to be coaching soccer.
Welcome to soccer.
NYCFC. Maybe he's just confused because he played so many years on a baseball field.
Oh, you see, that's it. And that's why they built a team like a baseball squad.
That's why I really liked him, because he said,
stats.
He played in Yankee Stadium.
And the squads are so big. Aren't baseball squads like 40, 30 players or something?
See, there you go. That's just some basic confusion.
He's just
Moneyball. Yeah.
Except he misunderstood Moneyball.
So if we spend money,
let's spend all the money. Is that what that means? Like,
yeah, it is, right? That's what that means.
They spent just an insane amount, like more than the entire other other top tier leagues in other countries.
Yeah.
Chelsea outspent the entire league.
And they haven't done this. They obviously haven't done this scouting. They've spent money on players, overspent money on players who just haven't got the goods.
No, but I think Burley was just going through his likes. Like, who liked
Yeah,
my
who liked
Backtat
my
post?
thing?
Okay, you're hired.
Who sent
You're
me a
hired.
Christmas card?
You're out.
Whoever texts you back quicker will get the job. That's it.
So what? But what do you do with a owner like that who's insisting on being so involved and so out of touch? I'm not one who's anti-American owner, because I say what you want about other American owners, which there's a lot now in England. It's a wide range, like any owner.
Well, like Liverpool, they've got
Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, and look what they've
well.
done, and they don't have a budget of like a state-owned team.
No.
And you look at like even down in our favorite, America's favorite team from Great Britain, Wrexham.
America's favorite team.
Say what you want about the celebrity owners, and I say a lot about that, the whole phenomenon.
It's an amazing story.
But at least they come in and say, "Hey, we don't know anything. We're here to support you in the community. You tell us. We trust the experts, and we will do our job." And it's an amazing story.
It is. Yeah.
But Burley comes in and is like,
Moneyball.
Yeah, exactly.
Soccer.
"We're gonna win 3-0."
He
said that. Almost lost 3-0.
Oh my goodness. I think it's a difference in getting the right people into the club who know football, who know how to run a club. It's a business, but it's you have to know football, and get the right people in. He came in, he got rid of Petr Cech, who's been amazing for us. He got rid of our director of football, I can't remember her name now, I couldn't even pronounce her name if I tried, because she's like from Ukraine or something, so it's like a long name. But anyway, he got
solid
rid of
fan here.
Yes, I'm a very solid fan. But he got rid of the high, people in high positions and swapped them with his people, and they haven't worked out. And it might just take some time. It might take a few seasons. Yeah,
It's tough, but the league is so cruel. It is so cruel.
Well, everyone's fighting for those 3 points, and when you are like even a few % off, the other team will take advantage of you. And like Brentford showed it last week, they didn't even have to do much. All they had to do was match us in spirit, in work rate, and then they knew they would get the opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
It's
Easy at the moment. It's easy. We are Charity FC at the moment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you have a pensioner on your crest, so
Yeah.
that makes sense. You've set yourself up that way. Well, we had some Chelsea fans on a few weeks ago, and I asked them. They were from a new club, St. Louis. But I'll ask you more broadly, if Chelsea were at this point to play, let's say, the top team in MLS, LAFC, I don't even know if you know anything about them, but they're pretty good.
Yeah, I do.
So
Ibrahimovic, who used to play, right?
No,
And Beckham? No?
that's the wrong LA team.
Damn, I
That's
don't know
Galaxy.
anything.
LA
Oh,
Galaxy,
no.
who
I'm
actually
sorry,
are horrible.
fans. I'm sorry, fans.
LAFC have Carlos Vela,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mexican. Yeah.
and they're actually a very good team.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, they're probably gonna win the Champions League in
Okay.
CONCACAF.
Nice.
But say just the top team MLS played Chelsea at this moment. Current manager, current squads. What's the
We haven't
outcome?
got hope. We haven't got hope.
Ah.
Like, I literally go into every game now and thinking, maybe we'll get a draw. Maybe. If the other team don't score, we'll get a draw. Because we're not scoring at the moment. Like, I think the only goal in the last, 6 games is a deflected shot by Gallagher.
Isn't it in the last handful of games the same number of goals as own goals?
I would assume so, yes. That sounds about right.
I don't know what number of games, because I think in the last 5 it's only 1 goal scored,
Yeah,
right?
last 5 is 1 goal, and that was Gallagher, and it was a deflection. It wasn't even on target.
But own goals sound so awesome. You own them. I own that goal. Burley ball. Watching that guy in the stands is just such a joke. What, oh my God, he is funny. He does not do our country. He falls into every British stereotype of American football fan. Well, at least we know the club's names, unlike the LA. There are two teams in LA. The LA Galaxy,
Okay, now I know.
who used to be good. That's where Beckham played.
Okay.
But what's funny is a lot of players don't realize that either. And honest to God, you see players sign for the Galaxy and they're like, all right, coming in on top. And they don't realize the Galaxy,
That happens?
they have one win on the season. They're horrible. But they show up, they're like, but wait. And they're like, oh yeah, sorry, the other LA team, they're actually really good. And you signed for the wrong LA team.
Who are these players? Who did that happen to?
Ricky Puig, who came from Barcelona, who is, I can't say for sure he felt that way, but he's actually pretty great. And it was a big surprise he came. But you got the sense that it was like, oh yeah, LA, yeah. I look at the rankings, they're number one. He's like, wait, this is LA? What, I want to be at the other one, the one that's downtown and has all the fans.
Yeah, it reminds me of when Robinho went to Man City. In the first interview, he said, "I'm happy to be at Chelsea," and he was at Man City. Yeah.
Oh well.
So one of the things we do on our podcast is we'll occasionally do a crest deep dive or a team deep dive of the history of their crests. And I have all of the historic Chelsea crests pulled up here, and I just wanted to know, what is your favorite
Oh, good question. And why?
and why?
Have you seen these before?
Yes, I have. Yeah. So I haven't seen these old ones though. These are interesting. I would say my favorite has to be the 1997, 1999 badge, just because I've got a lot of memories of the FA Cup final. When we beat Middlesbrough 2-0, I wasn't there, but
That is a great one.
Yeah, that's a really great one. Yeah, I was out with my dad, and we were with a bunch of Chelsea fans watching the game. And just as a kid, I was 10 or something like that. I just got a lot of memories of that. So
That's Burley's favorite too. That's the one he got.
That's his
Oh, yeah.
back
Except
tat.
instead of the, he put his head over the lion's head on them. It's just like screaming. Soccer! And it's CSC.
Nice.
That's
Oh,
the,
yeah,
that's
instead
the,
of football,
that's
soccer
the
instead of
rebrand
football,
next year. I
CSC.
hope you're ready. Chelsea Soccer Club.
It's coming. It's coming.
All right, Jim. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing some of your pain with two other really.
I needed to get it
down-on-the-luck
out. I needed
football
this
fans.
session. You know, this therapy session has been rough.
You'll make it. I think you'll make it.
Yeah,
We should have a special name for these segments, like the come and commiserate
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
the downfall of your club.
The football couch.
Yeah, just take it easy on me, guys. Take it easy on me.
All right. Oh man, when we have those great British and it's specifically London accents on this show, it gives us so much credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Even though if the owners of such voices don't even know there's two teams in LA, it's fine. Or even all the old crests from their own club.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
That's totally fine.
Why would they care about the old crests when they have their laurels to rest on?
That's true. They're going to be resting on those for a while. But like, thanks for Jim for coming on and talking to us about that history. It is kind of inspiring though. You know, you think about these teams that are in your mind are always up, but Chelsea wasn't always up, you know, and he stuck through it with his family.
He's a legacy Chelsea.
He's a legacy Chelsea. He's been around as long as the pensioners. That was a fascinating bit of history. How come we didn't, I guess we could have easily Googled that, but.
I did beforehand.
Oh, you did? You knew that already?
Yeah,
Why didn't you say anything?
because I was letting him speak.
That sounds like a judgment on me. All right. Well, it's 40 degrees, raining. No one played football anywhere this weekend. What are you looking forward to this week, Maria?
Let's see. I've moved from denial into acceptance. What's next? Or is acceptance the last thing?
I think acceptance is the last thing, and then just eventual death, right?
Oh, that sounds nice.
Not for you, just Leeds in general. Hey, you get to learn a whole new swath of teams.
I was thinking about how fun that will be. It's going to be very fun.
And maybe they'll do the Burnley. They'll just go down, dominate, and be right back, and you get a year of winning.
And then more losing.
Well, you don't know. They could bring back
They
Jesse
could.
Marsh.
I think they need to take their time and rebuild and come back stronger.
Well, we'll see what happens. Anything else?
Nah.
No? Okay. That's good. The Fire play St. Louis in the U.S. Open Cup.
Oh, where are they playing?
Because of the schedule, the Open Cup games are not decided until the tournament progresses. It's actually going to be at Bridgeview. It's at it's SeatGeek Stadium.
SeatGeek.
Their former home and the home of the Red Stars. So about 20 miles outside of Chicago. But it is a soccer-specific stadium. It's not a bad venue. I actually enjoy watching games there. It's just in the middle of nowhere, and there's nothing to do around it.
Besides tailgate?
Besides tailgate in their gravel parking lot. That is not a paved parking lot. But I might see if I can make it down there. I mean, in the last Open Cup game, St. Louis, hats off to our friends over there in St. Louis. They broke the record attendance for a third round U.S. Open Cup game with 22,000. And they were playing Union Omaha from USL, and they destroyed them. Union Omaha beat the Fire last year in the U.S. Open Cup. So
things are looking good for the Fire.
But that reminds me of the good news last week. The Fire won their last round of the U.S. Open Cup too. They beat Chicago House, the powerhouse amateur team from Chicago.
That's not an easy thing to do.
No. And maybe if Leeds do well in the championship, I'm going to suggest the Fire go amateur because they could really dominate. But it could be a fun game against St. Louis. I think it's going to be a tough one. But it's also a little practice. And it's nice because we are only scheduled to play them once this year. So now we'll get to play them twice.
A little preview.
A little preview.
That doesn't really matter that much.
Well, just if you do watch the U.S. Open Cup, what do you mean? Totally matters.
Well, it doesn't matter there's no points accumulated. It depends on if you care about the U.S. Open Cup or not.
Yeah, you don't love the U.S. Open Cup? Do you know what it is?
Yeah, all the teams play in an Open Cup.
In the U.S. Okay, so you don't know what it is. It's one of the oldest cup competitions in the world.
They play each other. They play soccer.
Anyway, and it is one of maybe the only chances for a trophy for the Fire this year. So we shall see. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But beyond that, I think that's it for this week. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I feel like this was depressing.
It was a down week. That's how you should label the episode. Oh, also, I have a beef with you.
What?
Maria has very graciously been editing all our podcasts until this exhibit is over at the museum. And she's doing a great job. But I have old man breathing problem. I notice.
You also laugh straight into your microphone.
Oh, I try not to. I try to turn away and do that. But I'm such a jolly person. It's hard. How are you supposed to laugh? Okay.
Just throw your chin back.
Anyway, so I've been listening to our wonderful podcasts and it sounds like I'm Darth Vader. I'm a little worried. I'm more worried about my health maybe than anything else.
I think you should see someone if you're worried.
No, I think you should edit better. See, I did the turn away. Okay, everybody. We'll catch you next week.